Well, today is International Women's Day. It recognises and celebrates women and girls who are championing the women's rights across the globe. Despite so many advancements in women's rights, there are many modern setbacks. Women in Afghanistan are being denied an education these days. Just recently, the reversal in the USA of the constitutional right to abortion. And of course, here in South Africa, our gender-based violence crimes just keep climbing, tragically. But there are remarkable women doing amazing things to make positive change. So let's just take a listen to one woman who uses the power of her voice to get her message across. She is poet and praise singer Jessica Mbangeni. Let's take a listen to her performance.
She's one of the queens on Zinga. She's one of the queens on Mantadisi. She's one of the queens of this world. Jessica Mbangeni, ikumkani yasiswe sonke.
And Jessica Mbangeni joins us now all the way from Argentina, I believe. Jessica, good evening to you.
A very good evening. Thank you ever so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, and I suppose we should congratulate ourselves for International Women's Day. It always seems a bit strange to me, and I'd love to get your insight. These Women's Days, I mean, yes, it's important that we talk about women's rights, particularly given we're seeing a reversal of women's rights in certain parts of the world. Here at home in South Africa, horrifically high gender-based violence stats. What for you, though, is the relevance of a day like today? Is it sort of important that we do have these days?
It's very important because we are reflecting on the progress and the reversals that are happening in our communities, in our nations, because the gender-based violence in South Africa is the same as the women's human rights violations that are happening across the world. And for me, tapping into these countries, that's where I see the reality of women being deprived their own rights, the human right of living as a woman, and be dictated on what to do, which is a genocide, because it's not about racism. It's all about black on black or same color on same color. So women are targeted in the world and they have been targeted way back. Remember that there have been no kingdoms, but only queendoms across the world. We had Queen Nefertiti's, we had Queen Zinga, the recent ones who fought the slave trade against Spanish, the Portuguese, and the slave trade. The colonial system has got a long term, and we should have a long-term drive of self-sustainability and rising above all these civil wars. Because they are the major wars that are destroying the lives of the women and also bringing the world into stagnancy and fading us away.
Yeah, it's so interesting, your perspective, because I know, and we're going to chat about your activism and how you work with women, I think, in the Eastern Cape. You've got a number of rural agricultural projects that you're very invested in. But I want to speak about your journey as a poet, as a spiritual leader, because your music is not just nice to listen to. There's a spiritual message behind it. And it's so important. You know, we're seeing so much anger here in South Africa and so much brokenness, and absolutely colonialism and apartheid played such a key role in breaking the spirit of many South Africans and of course women as well. And we are living through that legacy. We have to heal somehow. Talk to me about the creative side of you, which I think is very intertwined with your spirituality. How can that make a difference in helping to heal wounds that sometimes we're not even conscious of as women?
My music and my poetry is the business card to address the social ills in our society. And for us to revisit and as women, to change the traditions, the rituals that are tormenting women that from a young age. And we should redo, and culture evolves. And in the name of that, we should take on as women and be part of our lives. And Marcus Garvey once said, we must emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. The women's emancipation cannot be dictated by men. And we as women in South Africa, we have a political dominance in terms of we are the ones who are raising leaders who should lead us in all these portfolios. And I do not see any potential that a woman in South Africa today can become a state president and bring change, because cultural diplomacy is the one that is needed to advocate and bring change in women's lives.
Jessica, I'm so sorry we have to cut this short, but JJ Tabani wants to do his show. But it has been delightful to talk to you, and thank you so much for taking time out for your really busy world tour. She's currently in Argentina. Poet and praise singer Jessica Mbangeni. Plenty